Again, I just have to say thank you very much to all the wonderful sponsors that made this a huge success. Louis Stewart, alright, how do we do? This is a short synopsis of the life of one of Waterford's own, Louis Stewart, who passed away this year. Louis was one of the world's leading jazz guitarists. He was born in Airmount House in Waterford City, and Louis played with the best. Legendary US band leader Benny Goodman, Tubby Hayes, and not forgetting our very own Dylan Bible and Mick Cody, both from Waterford. In 1968, he was part of the Jim Doherty quartet that won the Press Prize at the Montreux Jazz Festival, and the following year won again, this time as Best European Soloist. Between 1975 and 1979, he was a fixture in the world-famous Ronnie Scott Quintet, playing almost nightly in the Saxophonist Soho Club in London. Louis made 20 recordings under his own name, and in 1982, inspired by his great love for James Joyce, he composed Joyce Notes, that's me charitable kicking in, which he performed at the Cork Jazz Festival and at the National Theatre in Oslo. In late 2015, Louis Stewart was diagnosed with cancer, and on the 20th of August this year, he passed away at Our Lady's Hospice, Harold's Cross, Dublin. He was 72 years of age. And in recognition of his achievements, in 1998, he was awarded an honorary doctorate by Trinity College, Dublin. And Louis Stewart was always known as this very quirky type of person, and thankfully I met him once or twice. One of Lewis's wittiest remarks was also his last. At his funeral, Stewart's son Tony asked his father whether he wanted to be buried or cremated, and Louis thought for a moment and said, "Surprise me." Born the 5th of January 1944, died the 20th of August 2016. From a more interesting point of view, and it's sort of apt in keeping with Booze, Blaas and Banter, it just so happens that Louis' father came down to Waterford, and where Louis was born, he was born in Airmount Hospital, otherwise known as the Baby Factory. Where his mum and dad came down to work, it was a centre for the Waterford Unemployed Men's Club. His dad was in Waterford to train unemployed men in craftwork in the 40s. The following is from the dustbin of history. An organised unemployed was stronger in vice than an unorganised one. Unemployment continued to plague the southeast right to the end of the 1930s. Things had gotten to such a state in Waterford that an unemployed men's club was founded, taking up residence in the unused Airmount House, which included a large farm. A large number of people, including businesses, subscribed money to help provide for the new club. And from the early 1940s and right through to the next 5 years, this institution created a positive space for many. Its establishment, as well as being local news, was also national news, being described in the Irish press as Ireland's first provisional Mount Street club. This was an apt comparison, since the idea that it would also adapt a tally system, where working up tallies could be exchanged for items such as food, clothing, etc. Although far from a permanent or ideal solution to the problems of unemployment, it was nevertheless a successful venture for several years, until its membership declined heavily as emigration became the preferred option for many of the men who served its purpose. And just to fill in on the Mount Street Club, in 1934, a group of notable businessmen decided to combat poverty as best they could by setting up an unemployed men's club, wherein men could earn tallies which they could exchange for food, clothing, fuel or furniture. This was a very successful, and at its peak during the Second World War, the club had over 6,000 members working on its premises in Mount Street and on its farm in Clondalkin and allotments in Merrion and Sydney Parade. The club was revolutionary in proving that men from the slums could make a constructive contribution to society and helped hundreds of unskilled workers gain employment. It was talked about in the Senate and gained international attention from the likes of Sir William Beveridge, who developed Britain's first welfare system. And I'm reading this here because I became unemployed myself about 3 years ago, and it just so happens that I'm actually trying to start my own craft business. That's all I have to say really about Louis Stewart. I hope you've all really enjoyed the morning, and thanks once again. All right.